You might see some, I won't say familiar faces, but perhaps familiar voices today, as our two guests have been on the podcast before. Nick Kraljević from episode 2, who's the founder of Pleme, an online community and app for Croatians to network globally. And we also have Mate Pavković from episode 8, who's the president of Cro Diaspora, which is a nonprofit that seeks to improve Croatia through economic solutions and assist those abroad with their challenges in doing business and returning to Croatia. Thanks for coming on the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just a quick reminder, if you guys haven't, for our recent subscribers, if you haven't seen episode 2, episode 8 with Pleme and Cro Diaspora before, go ahead and check those out. I'm excited for our first video podcast here, but I'm also really excited to learn more about CitizenHR, which is why we're here today. So guys, how did this collab happen? You guys have worked together in the past, right?
Yeah. Mate, do you want to go or should I get started?
Yeah, maybe I can kind of tell the overview of, how we got started with this. So me and Nick have known each other for the past couple of years. And, originally we wanted to kind of collaborate around Pleme and maybe bring Cro Diaspora's community to Pleme. And then since then, we've just been collaborating with different solutions and understanding how we can help other Croatians move back to Croatia. And, Nick has also done a couple other projects like, the business index, Croatian business index. And then we came to this idea about, Croatian citizenship. And if, a lot of Croatian people have seen online, especially on Facebook, there are many groups for citizenship and a lot of people trying to help each other figure out what paperwork they need, what they need to, to go forward with that, like translators, or if they want to go a legal route by, giving power of attorney to a lawyer. So we thought, hey, why don't we make it more simple for people? They just put all the information that they have inside of a calculator, and then it just calculates for them every single piece of thing, like every piece of paperwork that they need, and then also the contacts that are in their area. And yeah, I think that's pretty much where, we came up with the idea with CitizenHR, and then, Nick made it happen,
And how long ago did you guys start with this idea? Because the app was just released. What was the date? Just a few days ago.
Just a few days ago, yeah.
Yeah, a few days ago. I feel like we probably spoke about this probably close to a year ago, and we're like, hey, there should be some sort of calculator, and it's probably like really come together in the last 2-3 months, I guess, by the time we built everything and tested it. So yeah, it's I'd probably say 2-3 months as we've been hard at work on everything.
Mm-hmm. And have you guys been involved with any other organizations or any other people that you've been collabing with this on?
Yep. Probably want to give a big shout out to Croatian Studies Foundation here as well. So they gave us a grant as well to kind of help with building the app. Wouldn't have really been possible without the guys. So yeah, that was a big help to both of us. And I guess they're, for anyone else listening, Croatian Studies, they're doing lots of grants for Croatian related projects. So if anybody has a research project or something interesting, it might be a good place to hit up the guys there and get some help.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the app a little bit. I just want to start off by asking about the picture that you guys chose for the app. And I wonder if you guys, because I just learned about this for the first time, like a week ago. And then when I saw the picture, I said, wait, that looks familiar. Where have I seen that? I don't know if one of you guys want to talk a little bit about why that picture was chosen.
It's the main, if we're talking about the main app logo, it's a Meštrović statue, mother of Croats, I think in English it translates to. So yeah, it just kind of seemed perfect for a app where you're bringing Croatians home or trying to get more people citizenship. So yeah, that was the thinking behind it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a cool logo. You guys mentioned earlier, you mentioned to me that it's available in multiple languages. How many languages is the app available in? And which ones?
Yep. At the moment, it's Croatian, English, Spanish, German, French, Italian, and we've added Portuguese as well just before we went live. Shout out to Renato in Brazil. He actually reached out and said, hey, I think this would, be really great to have in Portuguese. We have a large, community with some Croatian roots in Brazil. So obviously if it's in Portuguese, it's gonna help a lot of them get onto the app. So yeah.
That's pretty cool that they reached out to you. He reached out to you about that. So obviously you've chosen the languages that sort of have the biggest Croatian populations, outside of Croatia.
Yeah, basically, like we've been live for a few days now, so we can kind of see English is the most heavily used, I think followed by Croatian and Spanish at the moment. So yeah, we're hoping that wherever you are in the globe, you will at least speak one of these languages. So you should be able to get through the app.
Awesome. Well, let's see if we can do a walkthrough, of the app. Let's see what it's like. If you guys want to, talk in more detail about, using it and what sort of features it has.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just try share screen. Okay. 1 second. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Let me just move this over a bit so I can see. Okay, so when you kind of launch the app, on the first time you kind of go through a whole walkthrough, which kind of explains a little bit about the app. I'll just really cover it off quickly here, but essentially you kind of just enter your email, you answer a questionnaire, which is 31 questions. And then based on how you answer those 31 questions, we kind of have 8 paths to citizenship, or 8 paths to Croatian citizenship. I can never remember them from the top of my head just by looking at this, pretty much all day, but it's, descent, lineage, affiliation, special interests, naturalization, marriage, readmission, and treaty. I think I got all of them. But essentially once so you do a quick questionnaire, it'll show you those options, and then you can kind of in those options see what's your closest consulate, who are some experts who can help you, and then kind of a little checklist of what documents you need, etc. So we'll get started. I'll just put in my email. Oh, hang on. It's not letting me into here we go. Hopefully we can edit that part out. So you kind of fill out your name. So I'll go ahead. There we go. Occupation, education, reconnecting with my roots. My spelling's atrocious today. Yes, I'm older than 18. No, I'm not older than 60. So we kind of ask this because depending on how old you are, they might, doing the Croatian language test, and certain paths to citizenship you may be required, but not if you're older than 60 or younger than 18, I believe. I did not ever previously hold Croatian citizenship. I was born in Australia. Have I lived in Croatia for more than a year? I haven't lived in Croatia for more than 8 years. Do I intend to make a significant financial investment? So we kind of ask this around special interest and that kind of path. So we'll say yes for the purposes of the demo, so you can see what the option looks like. And then we kind of ask, have you made an attempt to, protect the rights of Croatians or promoted interest or participate in events, etc. So that's, one of the key things they look at when considering citizenship via affiliation. So ancestry, how many parents? I'll say 2. And sorry about the scrolling here. It's always a bit funky on the emulator. So no. So, depending on if your parents or grandparents hold citizenship as part of the other Yugoslav republics, it might, disable you from some options, I guess, or you might have to look at other routes. For example, I won't drill into it too much. I have 4 grandparents and 8 great grandparents. No. And then we kind of have a similar thing, no. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys, this is, here we go. So did anyone emigrate after 1991? Maybe Marty, you want to talk about that? There's some different rules depending on when your ancestors migrated from Croatia.
So that's a loophole in the law. So for example, I'll give the example of my mother. So my mother is not Croatian by any shape, way, or form. So my father, he left as an immigrant before 1991. And according to the law, and I think it's Article 11, it's some subsection, that if you left before the 10th of October 1991, so when Croatia formally became independent, that you can actually give citizenship to your wife or to your significant other. So your wife, your husband, significant other, if you left before 1991, so you're an immigrant, and then you married somebody that was not Croatian, you can give citizenship to that person through marriage. That's the only loophole where you can give it through marriage and not live in Croatia.
Yep. Okay. So then we kind of go, are you married? No. No, I don't have a spouse, obviously. We're looking at how we can kind of make this questionnaire a little bit smarter. So, you potentially answer kind of less than 31 questions. So if you answered, yes or no to some previous ones, we'll just hide that question. So coming soon. Then we'll look at documents. So, a key part of applying for citizenship is having, a document, having it certified, whether it's apostle sealed or some other equivalent convention. Mate, I think we've spoken a few times about Canada, how they're not part of the Apostle Seal Convention, but, they have a different way of, authenticating and authorizing documents. So you typically have to have a translation and an officially certified document. And then we just ask that again, just to be sure. We also, through the app, you'll have to provide a biography about yourself in Croatian or a CV. So we also offer a service through the app to kind of do this. So if folks are interested, they can click and, they kind of enter their details and we'll get that translated for them. And then finally, we kind of ask, where you live. So I'll just say, 300. Sydney, New South Wales, and the zip code is 2000. So that's pretty much the whole questionnaire. So if I hit calculate now, it'll take me to, what kind of options are available. So tap that. It'll take a few seconds while it does all the checks. Okay, and then it'll show me what pass I'm eligible for. It'll tell me if, I need to do a language test. So if I click this little button, it'll tell me all about the language test. So I'll close that. But essentially it says, based on how I answered, I'm eligible for citizenship by affiliation, citizenship by special interests, citizenship by descent, citizenship by lineage. I guess for any legal folks watching or any experts, descent and lineage are essentially the same path. I think for the app, we split it, we showed descent as in, your parents are citizens, or, lineage where you have a grandparent or a great grandparent. We've just done that for simplicity reasons, because it's, a lot less paperwork if you have a parent or more than one parent. Then once we get into the grandparents, great grandparents, then, typically the stories we've heard developing the app is there's a lot of legwork involved to find, documents, birth, death records, etc. So I've just split it into that. But yeah, so yeah, Stanko, which one should we click on?
Let's go. I mean, maybe descent or lineage, because I feel like probably that's the majority of people.
Yep. Okay.
Using this. And just to go back real quick, not on the screen, but just to talk about what you brought up, the language test. Actually, I thought they had got rid of that, but apparently there are some instances where you need to take that.
Yep. Yeah, there still are some cases. I think via naturalization and in some cases marriage, you're still required. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, once you kind of see the option, you'll see a little screen like this. They all look pretty similar for all of the options. But essentially, if we click the Get Help button, it should show us the nearest consulate. So yeah, it worked on the first time. So that's my closest consulate. So if I hit website, okay, I don't think it actually has a website connected to this. We are still updating our records. There are a lot of different sources over the web of all the consulates, and sometimes they're a bit different. So, but if I hit the map, it should take me to where it is on the map. Which, yep, that's it. That's right there. So yeah. All right. And then yeah. So essentially, we get back at the descent page. It'll kind of show me my documents. So you did notice there was a little pop up. So depending on how you answer, it'll kind of let you know if you need to go get those documents. And then we kind of have a list of experts. So we've kind of collected a bunch of legal firms, a few translation firms and translators, some consulting folks, and some other organizations who are kind of in the Croatian citizenship business, so to speak. So there's a lot of familiar ones here you'll see. I think Adriatic Tours is also here, as well as, like Expat in Croatia and a couple other firms. Currently, we're talking to a couple more to get listed. So this list will probably grow by the time the podcast comes out. But yeah, so essentially, if you're looking for, a legal firm, there's a few guys here you can kind of reach out to. If I show you what an expert page looks like, so if I click one of these, apologies, you'll kind of see this is what our profiles look like. So we'll have the name, where they're located, phone, a little bit about the place, and then you can either go to their website or send them an email. So yeah, essentially that is kind of the main part of the walkthrough of the app. So it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward workflow. Come in, answer a questionnaire, and then kind of get connected with the right experts. Like a lot of people have said, once you kind of know the process, it's pretty straightforward. But I think for you're coming in at the first time, and I know myself when I did this by myself, earlier in the year, it was pretty daunting. So we're just kind of taking a bit of that knowledge and just making it a little bit easier to find someone who can help. And yeah, that's the main gist of the app.
And what sort of feedback have you guys had so far about it? I mean, I know it's only been a few days since you released it.
Yeah, so far we've got like some really nice positive messages from people saying, really great. So glad this came out. I even thought of, doing something similar. So those are, always good messages to hear. We've had a few people come and, ask questions and about certain functionality and stuff. So we, it's helped us find some bugs and fix those. So it's been a pretty busy couple of days for me getting those rolled out. But so far all the feedback's been great, even about any bugs. We've, everyone's kind of, been really helpful in providing information and getting down the path. So yeah, in terms of numbers, I think we kind of overshot expectations. I think in the first weekend we've had over 2,000 downloads, and roughly about that many sign-ins, and about half of that have gone through the whole questionnaire. So I have received emails from people asking questions, so we've tried to get back to everyone and kind of walk them through the process. We're hoping this video helps as well, just showing people off the street as well to kind of get through the app. But yeah, really, I'm waffling a bit, but really great feedback we've got so far. It's been really nice.
Mate, do you have anything that you want to add as far as the app itself and the walkthrough and how it works? I mean, as far as I guess anything in that sort of just using the app and then where to go next, sort of those steps.
I think that in general, it's been very positive. And of course, as Nick said, that there were a couple of, bugs in the system, but, that's the point of launching the app, so that you can find those bugs and you can see how you can perfect the app. And, since then, there's been a lot of great people contacting me, like either be it lawyers, translators, and so on from everywhere around the world, from South America, North America, even here in Croatia. People are interested in, helping people and, creating, more applications for citizenship. And I think that most recently, what I've recently got like a message from Croatian Archives is there's a person that works in the Split archives, and he wants to have a meeting with me tomorrow. And I think that could be something that could be a huge benefit, because a lot of people, they come to Croatia on genealogy trips, and they come to all these different places across Croatia to look through church records, to look through, the Croatian National Archives, just to find the relatives. So if we can somehow have some sort of relationship with, the Croatian Archives to, either display it on our, on our app and help people search for their relatives or search for people that they've been looking for a long period of time, I think that would be the next major step. And I think that this app could, be an exponential help to anybody that is in this process.
So that could be a future collaboration for the app, you're saying that?
Exactly. I suppose I have a call tomorrow with, the Croatian Archive, so I'll see tomorrow. And then, I'll get back to Nick and we can see how we can digitize all those archives maybe, or how we can cooperate even with them.
And I want to talk a little bit more about, sort of the future of the app. But first I want to ask, how can you get access to the app? Is it free to use? I mean, as a user, as a business, is there anything we should know?
Yeah. So the app's totally free for you to use as a user. So you can download it from both app stores. We have a website, which is CitizenHR.app. So you'll have all the links there. And then for kind of businesses, partners, so if you're an expert or you're really interested in getting involved, if you head to citizenhr.app/expert, there's a little form, and then you'll hear from us pretty soon.
Nice. I know Cro Diaspora, Mate, that's your forte, that's your position. Is there any upcoming related events with Cro Diaspora relating to citizenship or usage of the app or anything of that nature?
For sure. So we're having a webinar with Bruna Gamelin, who is a really good lawyer here in Croatia. She speaks great English, and actually her mother is working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So she has a lot of experience with, citizen applications and whatnot. And along with explaining how the app works, she'll also be answering anybody's questions pertaining to citizenship. So we want to garner as much interest in Croatian citizenship as we can, either through the app, with some of the experts that we have on the app. And we're going to be working the next couple months to get as many people that are experts on the app to answer people's questions through Cro Diaspora webinars in cooperation with CitizenHR.
Okay, very cool. So that will add a new level of sort of functionality to the app, sort of a question and answer, get help from a person. You already mentioned a couple things, but I'll ask again, is there anything else that you guys are looking to do in the future with this app? Or, I know you just released it, so I'm sure right now you're just getting feedback and, tweaking a few things here and there and going with that. But are there any other plans for the app? Anything else that, we should know, people who are looking to use it or people who are looking to move back to Croatia? Any sort of last final thoughts or anything of that nature?
Yeah, we've probably got some more cool stuff coming up, just in terms of I think now we're just making sure the experience is as smooth as possible. We're going to add a lot more features so you can kind of export your questionnaire and how you've answered everything as you go into like a nice document that you can potentially take along with you to either consulates or reach out to any experts with. A lot of stuff around FAQs. So as Martin mentioned, there's a lot of knowledge that people have around the process and share. So we're going to, what we can't really build in, nicely into the calculator, we'll kind of, buff out those FAQs with. So you'll be able to just log on and kind of browse a, huge database of FAQs. We've got a couple interesting partnerships coming up too. I won't say too much because it's not all finished yet, but we're looking to do interesting stuff with, with weddings and travel and flight as well, within the app. So there'll be some cool stuff, I guess, as you go through the process. I guess much more. Obviously, guys who've used it, we'd love to hear from you. And you think, there's something else you'd like to see in the app, we're more than happy to listen to you guys and build that in.
Well, I'll drop links, of course, in the podcast description. Once again, if you're not watching on YouTube, I advise you go from Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever, and go to YouTube and watch this podcast here, and I'll put the links there in the description. Anything that brings Croatians back to Croatia is a good thing. So I'm really appreciate what you guys are doing. I know my own sisters are looking to get their citizenship as well, so I'm telling them to look into this for help. Since I went a different route, I was involved in a program that offered personalized help with that. So they're looking to do that. But I want to thank you guys for coming on the podcast again, but this time together. It's been cool to have you. Thanks for showing us the walkthrough. It's something I'll have to download on the App Store. You said that's on both. That's on the Android and Apple stores.
Yep.
Okay, great. I don't know, any sort of last final thoughts or words or shout outs?
No, I guess thank you to everyone involved. I think who we haven't already shouted out, and to all the guys who've used the app and sent nice messages or given us feedback. Really, really grateful for all the support so far.
Yeah, same things, same sentiments. Thank you everyone for using the app and giving us very useful feedback about the app and how we can improve it. And I think that the most important thing about this app is that we're all coming together. We're all, understanding why, for, multiple different reasons why people want to come back to Croatia. And I think that this is a very important thing for all of us as Croatians abroad to have this information and to be able to, advocate for a better and a more clear-cut solution to getting our citizenship. And I think that in the past, unfortunately, it's been very unclear for a lot of people, and that's why a lot of these forums have come up. And hopefully through this app and through the solutions that we'll provide in the future, that it will become more clear for people, and it'll be clear for people to come back to Croatia.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate what you guys are doing, and thank you one more time for coming on the podcast and showing it to everyone here.